So do you know what is GitHub, guys?
No, sir. Only name only, sir. Name only. No,
You know, na? So did you created the account for on this GitHub?
no, sir. Only I know only GitHub name only, sir. I don't
GitHub.
know how
No
to use.
worries.
I don't know how to
Yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you can understand what is
Code
GitHub.
management tool, source code management tool, right?
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Source code management tool or a version control system. What is this, guys? So version control system. So version control, source code management ale a version control system. So CVCS, DVCS. Guys, what is CVCS? What is DVCS? So what is CVCS and what is DVCS? So what is CVCS, guys? Centralized
Version control system.
version control system. Version control system, DVCS, distributed version control system. So centralized version control system, distributed version control system, centralized version control system, and distributed version control system. Yeah, guys. So what is a centralized version control system? What is a distributed version control system? So what is a source code management tool? So source code management tool is nothing but a so there is a repository. There is a repository. So there is a repository. So there is a repository, guys. So developer, whatever the developer, right? So developer, developer develop that code, right? That code will push and pull the push and pull. So this is for example developer system. So whatever the developer develop that code, right? So these all are the developers. Who are these guys? These all are developers. Developers. So developers develop the code and push it to the repository. So push it to the repository. So where it is, guys? The repository. Repository. So the developer develop that code and push it to the repository. Push it to the whatever the developer, right? Push pull. So the example of the CVS, centralized version control system, is SVN, subversion. So what is this, guys? So subversion. So in this, this is the repository. For example, these three developers are, one developer is working in the US, one developer is working in the Pune, one developer is working in the Hyderabad. So whatever the developer develop that code, they push it to the repository. The code is available in the repository. So what is this repository, guys? This repository is a, what is this repository? This repository is a SVN. This repository is a SVN, right, guys? So here also same. So here also a same. So here also same, developer develop the code and push it to the the here Git repository. What is that, guys? Git repository. So Git. So Git repository. So here, so what is the drawback? So centralized version control uses SVN, and Git is uses the distributed version control system. So 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 which is the popular one? Distributed version control system is the popular. So distributed version control system is the popular because of because of because of local repository also reports also available. So local repository also available here, guys. So whatever the developer develop, right, that's this is the centralized repository, and these all are the developers. These all are the developers. So this centralized repository, this SVN. So this SVN, how they, so there is no, so there is no code in the local repository. Whatever the developer develop code, right, it will commit. It will commit. So this is commit, commit and update. So commit and update. So commit and update. Commit and update. Yeah. So commit. So commit means push it to the code. Update means, so whatever the code pushed, right, that will update to the local system. So right, if centralized server crashes, for example, this is a server, right, hardware definitely fail you. If centralized server crashes, the data will be losing. So there is an alternative solution called as a distributed version control system. What is that, guys? Distributed version control system. For example, so this is the, so for example, so this is a remote repository. What is this, guys? This is a remote repository. So remote repository, and there is a local repository. What is this, guys? There is a local repository. So in that local repository, developer, so developers, so this is their laptops, their laptops, only the local repository, but the code is first the code is writing in their their laptops and push it to the local repository, their own local repositories, local repository. So local repository. So the code will be pushed to the local repository, something like a commit. So commit, so commit to the local repository, from local repository to remote repository. So from local repository to remote repository. So the data will be available in the remote repository and the local repository. If something goes on the remote repository, the local repository, the data will be available in the local repository. So what are the remote repositories? So first of all, so the Git is a distributed version control system. Now you understood? So what is this distributed? So it will distribute the data. So that the data will be available in the remote repository as well as the local repository. If something goes on the local, so we will push it, we will pull from the remote repository. If something goes on the local remote repository, we will push from the local repository. We'll push from the local repository. That's the reason Git is popular. That's the reason Git is popular. Who created the Git? Guys, who created the Git? So who created the Linux, guys?
Linus Torvald.
Yes, very good. So the Linus Torvald. So Linus Torvald created the Linus Torvald created the
Linux.
Git also. Who developed the Git, guys? Linus Torvald. So Linus Torvald, Linux released as a open source, same like as a Git also released as a open source. What is this, guys? Git released as a open source and Git is a CLI. What is this, guys? Git is a
CLI. CLI.
CLI, command line
Interface.
interface. So Git is a CLI. So Git is a CLI. The same like as open source, right? So few of the companies are took that source code and created their own type of Git repositories. Their own type of Git repositories. What are those? For example, yeah, guys, remote repository took that source code and so created their own type of remote repositories. So call it as a the remote repositories. Call it as a so Atlassian. Who is that, guys? Atlassian. Which company? Atlassian company. Atlassian company took that source code and created their own type of Git repository. Call it as a Bitbucket. What is this, guys? What is that?
Bitbucket.
Bitbucket. So Bitbucket is a one type of Git. So and so initially we don't know, but Microsoft Microsoft acquired the GitHub. What is that, guys? GitHub. So what is that, guys? GitHub. So what is this? So this is a GitHub. So GitHub developed by the
Exactly.
Microsoft. So developed by the some other guys, but acquired by the Microsoft. Now GitHub is in Microsoft company, right? So what it is? It is a repository. What it is? It is a repository to store the data. What it is, I say? It is a repository. So what it contains? It contains a data, right?
Hello.
Hello.
What is repository? Can I know?
So repository is nothing but a the storage. For example, Google Drive, OneDrive, those all are also drives, right? Drives means to store the data. So repository is nothing but a to store the data. To store the data. So we can upload, we can download the data. So that is nothing but a repository. Now you understood?
Yes, understood.
Yeah. So now you understood, right? So this is a Git. So Microsoft acquired the GitHub. Microsoft acquired the GitHub. So GitLab. So GitLab is a open source. So open source. One of the developers, something like Dutch developers, Stacey Sitbanji. What is that, guys? These two people. These two people, Dutch developer, Sitbanji. So he developed the what he developed? He developed the GitLab. So what is that, guys? So Amazon repo. So Amazon repository. So Amazon also created their own repository. So Amazon repo. So code repository. What is that, guys? Amazon code repository. Amazon. What is the repo name? Code repo. So Azure also created their own repository, Azure repo. What is that, guys? Azure
Repo.
repo. So these all are the remote repository to store the data. These all are the remote repositories, and these all are the GUI. What is this, guys? GUI. Guys, understood?
Yes, understood.
Yes, right. Now you understood, right? Sunny, what is GitHub? Sunny, Sunny, you there? Avinash, Sunny. So what is
So
GitHub now?
it is a repository, sir,
It is a repository.
to
To
store the
store.
data, sir.
Yeah, to store the data. And it is a version control system. So we can tag the versions. Same like as for example, WhatsApp. So 1.0.0.jar. WhatsApp 2.0.jar. WhatsApp 3.0.jar. So these all are the versioning, guys. So it's a version control system. So it will create the versioning for every deployment. So for every deployment, it will create the versioning. Guys, understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is nothing but a Git. So Git before what is the repository, guys? The version control system. So which one version control system we are using? We are using the centralized version control system, SVN. So after that, so Linus Torvald created a repository, call it as a Git repository, and Git created a Git version control system, and it's released as a DCVS, distributed version control system. So there is a local repository and remote repository. We can push and pull the data, and so it will be a copy of data. So the copy of data will be available on any repository, either remote repository or a local repository. First, whatever the developer, first we need to push it to the local repository, then push it to the remote repository. Guys, understood?
Yes, understood.
Yes, sir. Sir, GitHub and GitLab are both are same or different, sir.
remote repository, Azure repo, code repo, GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket. These all are same or different? These all are same, but the core feature is same, but the naming convention should be different. The UI different, but
Oh,
it works same. Okay,
okay, sir.
so
Okay.
everything. So some companies are using Bitbucket, some companies are using GitHub, some companies are using GitLab, some companies are using code repo, some companies are using Azure repo. My company is using GitLab for the
Is it is it
repository.
GUI or CLI?
GUI,
GUI.
absolutely. It's a GUI,
But
right?
Git is CLI, right?
Git is CLI. Took that source code and they created their GUI versions. Created. So what it is a CLI or so this is the GitHub, right? So it is a CLI or GUI.
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 Now you understood? Same
Yes,
like
yes.
as a GitLab. So GitLab. So now you understood? So this is the GitLab. So this is the so we already have gmail.com. Right, for example, this is the GitLab. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Bitbucket. Bitbucket. So who created the Bitbucket? Atlassian. Jira, you know, right? This is the Atlassian. Atlassian company created the Bitbucket. Jira also created the Bitbucket. Shit. Yeah. So this is a big Bitbucket. Guys, understood? This is a Bitbucket. This is a GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket. Guys, understood? So based
Yes,
on
yes.
the create a repository. So what is the repository? Repository name is AWS DevOps 21st. Guys, understood? Branches, pull, push request. Okay, guys, understood? You guys can just create your account. So same like as a Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever it may be, guys. Okay, and you can download the Git on your local machine. Git download and install Git on your local machine. Download and install the Git on your local mission. Local mission means on your lappy. Okay guys, on your lappy you guys can download and install the Git. So where I can download the Git? You can download the Git by using the Git download. Git download for Windows 11 or whatever it may be. So this is the official website for the Git guys. So you guys can download for the downloads. You guys see. So this is for Mac, Windows, and Linux. It supports everything. So just download and click it and 64 Windows setup. So Windows setup, you can download this one guys. Yeah, it will be downloading. Then I want to remove, right? Control panel, programs and feature, Git. Yeah. So mine Git already installed guys. I'm installing the Git guys. Okay. So now there is no Git in our mission. Git bash. Yeah. Git is removed from my account. So once it is completed, done, right? Now I will install. Just double click. Yes. Next. 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 Install.
Sir, Git and Git bash are both are same.
Git bash ఎందుకంటే bash అనేది ఏంటిది? సో విండోస్ లో నువ్వు గిట్ కమాండ్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయాలంటే ఎలా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తావు? అదే బ్యాష్ ప్రాంప్ట్ ఉందనుకో, గిట్ బ్యాష్ ఉందనుకో, ఏమవుతుందంటే నీ లైనక్స్ కమాండ్ లాగా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. అందుకే గిట్ బ్యాష్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఎ బ్యాష్. ఇట్స్ ఎ షెల్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద షెల్ వీ కెన్ యూస్ this shell to execute the same commands as a Linux commands on the Windows machine. So that's the reason we are installing the git bash. So git is normal. Git is nothing but we can we can work with the local repository. How we can work with the local repository? So how do you know if this file is a git file or not? How do you know this is a git repository or so, right? So we need to install the git, then we can copy the data to the local repository, create a local repository and copy to the local repository and push it to the remote repository. Push it to the remote repository. You guys understood? Now install the git. Now you install the git, right? Here I want to tell one thing. So 1 second guys, I want to create a folder, call it as a git material. Okay, so created the git material. I want to copy this guys. File, save as. This is different between between SV and the Git. Diff between SV and Git. Right. So now new Yeah, guys, 1 second. I want to show you something. Yeah. So what this is, guys? This is a source code management. The source code management of the changes to the documents or computer program or large website and other collection of information. So centralized version control system, distributed version control system. So in the centralized version control system server, this is the server, centralized server and repository. So this is the working copy. So commit update, commit update, commit update. If something goes on the repository, server repository, the data will be they will be lost. That's the reason a distributed version control system is came up. So here you see, guys, working copy, working copy, working copy. This is your stage. So workstation. Then this is the remote repository. What this is, guys? This is a GitHub, GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket, right? So we have in the working copy we need to push this is the local repository, guys. So this is the local repository. Then this is the remote repository. So this is the remote repository. First we need to commit and update, then push pull, push pull, push pull. So right, so commit and update, commit and update, commit and update. So there is a push and pull. So in the distributed version control system. So distributed version control system. Source code management tool. What is the Git? Git is a distributed version control tool that supports distributed non-linear workflows by providing the data assurance for a developing a quality of a software. Quality of the software. What is, guys? Working directory, staging, local repository, then remote repository. So the staging area. So once the file is created, so the Git is don't know, right? If this is a Git file or not, Git doesn't know. So how you can know by using this command git add, git commit. So this is the untracked file. For example, you created a one file, call it as a something like Apache installation.yaml. So that file you created a working copy you created in the working copy, and that does not know Git. How do you know Git? First, so we need to execute the git add command. What is that, guys? Git add command. Once the git add command is executed, it will going from a working right untracked to tracked and the staging area. So the code is in the staging area. Once you can use the git commit from staging to phrasing to, it will go to the local repository. So local repository. Here we have a git checkout, git merge, git checkout, git merge, git branch. So we can use these commands. And the from local repository to remote repository, so we can push the data. So we can push by using the git push data. How we can download from the git repository. How you can download by using the git pull command. Git push is nothing but a push the command, and pull is nothing but a pull the command. Pull is nothing but a, so for example, Sunny, Pavan, and Avinash. So these three people are there. These people are, so these three people are developing the code, right? So for example, WhatsApp code. So we have a three modules. One is status module, one is chat module, one is contact module, right? So for example, Pawan is working on the chat module, and Avinash is working on the status module, and the other guy. So the Sunny is working on the other repository. What is that repository, guys? Right.
Call,
So
call.
call or contacts. Call or contacts. He worked on the call or contacts. Right. So these three people are working on their missions, right? So their missions, and so we need to track the file. So we need to track the file. So it's local repo. Everybody having the local repository. Your code is in the local repository. So how you can push that code to the remote repository? Git push. So it will push. So chart push and status push and and the call or contacts push. These three are pushed, but Pavan knows only chat. He pushed, right? He write the code and he pushed. In his local repository having only the chat code, only the chat code, and Sunny having only uh, contacts or status code. So and Avinash having only the contacts code. But I want the code of the Pavan and Avinash. Sunny is looking for the code of the Pavan and Pavan and Avinash. So you can get by using the git pull. Once you git pull, so once you pull the code from remote repository to local repository. Now, so for example, Pavan having the code of Avinash and Sunny. Avinash having the code of Sunny and Pavan. So now in the local repository, we will get all the code. So whatever the code there in the remote repository, that code will be, the code will be downloaded and added to the local repository. Guys, now you understood? So practically it will understood, guys. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Understood, right? Git. Use the git. 1 second, guys. This Kubernetes Docker Git. Yeah, guys. So git commands. So what are the git commands? So version control, git commands, git init, git clone, git clone URL, git add, git commit, git status, git pull, git push, git branch branch name, git checkout branch name, git merge branch name, git stash apply, git reset, git log, git rm file name, git rebase. So git revert, create a new commit. So we'll give you guys. So git clone, git pull, git checkout, git add, git commit, git push, git branch. So we'll show you tomorrow. So what these are, so how it works. Okay. So
Okay,
tomorrow,
sir.
so we will create, guys. What is the task? You guys can create your account on GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab. Okay.
Okay.
So
Sir,
you
we
guys
use
can,
should use GitHub, sir, preferable.
whatever it may be, guys. You can try with all these three. We don't know,
Okay.
right? If you get a job in some other company, they are using Bitbucket, but you know GitHub, right? So if you
Hmm.
know three, it will be very easy to understand, right? It will be very easy to work on the any of the repository. Okay.
Okay.
The same operations will be same. Operations will be same, but the GUI is different. But the GUI is different. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We'll continue
Sir,
from tomorrow.
what, GitHub, Gitbucket?
GitLab.
So, GitLab.
Hello. Hello.
Ah,
How much storage is GitLab will give? GitHub.
so they will give files, right?
Yes.
So they will give enough. They will give whatever you want. There is no
For
restrictions in the
for storage purpose, we can use Amazon S3 also, no service.
S3. So that is a paid, right? So
Yes.
that is the paid service. So that storage is used for the EC2 instances, whatever it may be. So that storage is not used for the that code. The code what provides the source control source code management tool. So they provides the versioning is nothing but a 1.0 2.0 3.0, right? 1.0 contains only chat and contacts. So 2.0 contains status, chat, contacts. So 3.0 contains video calling. So all these older one and a new feature, older one and new feature, we will add a feature and version, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have
So
another. Can I ask?
you can ask whatever you want.
Can we launch EC2 instance from Ansible?
Ansible, what is Ansible?
Configuration orchestration tool, right?
Configuration management tool.
Management tool.
So what is Terraform?
Infra as a code.
So
Infra.
Terraform is a
IAC
infrastructure
tool.
management tool, right? ISC
Yes.
tool, infra as a
Yes.
code tool. So configuration management tool is after provisioning or after building the infra, they will they will create. So what we will do in the Ansible, so we will do the, for example, software installations, application configurations, deployment, right? So but so it will access, it will allow some degree of a provisioning, but that is not suitable, but that is not suitable for the building or provisioning the infra. So provisioning the infra purpose, we can use Terraform or a cloud formation or Azure template, ARM templates. So or some other for Google, some other for Oracle, right? So most preferable is Terraform. So because of it supports all the providers, right?
Okay, okay, done. Done.
Understood?
Understood.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. So please practice, guys. You are not practicing. This is a most of the important topics. Every developer, every DevOps engineer is working on these tools, Ansible, Terraform. You can explore, guys. In 1 hour, we cannot do anything, right? We cannot do all the right. So I will give you a overview of all these tools, how it works. So where it works, right? You guys can explore. So in the real time, how the Ansible is working, how the Terraform working, how we can create the stacks, Terraform stacks for a development environment, production environment, and the QA environment. You can search it in the Google and get the stacks, and you can create your own project and create our own project and apply the project Terraform stacks in the AWS account. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, guys. So we'll continue. Tomorrow is a Friday, right?
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah, so we will show you guys tomorrow. Maybe we'll understand how we can clone from the remote repository, how we can how we can push the code, how we can pull the code, how we can commit the code, a local repository. We'll show it on the tomorrow, guys. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.